KPMG set up shell companies in the tiny tax haven of the Isle of Man. Canadians who bought into the tax scheme declared they were gifting their money. Any returns would be gifted back. And because they were so-called gifts, it would all be tax-free. You needed a minimum of $5 million to get in on the scheme, $100,000 for KPMG's fees, and you had to sign a confidentiality agreement, which is why this former client is in shadow.
The main motivation was saving the tax. They're just going to keep their lips shut tight. How's Canada Revenue Agency going to detect it?
And yet, even when the CRA discovered the scheme and offered KPMG's clients a secret amnesty, the company still refused to reveal its client list, even when questioned by Parliament.
It is our view that it's our responsibility to keep our clients' affairs private, and we take that responsibility very seriously.
But using the Isle of Man's own corporate registry, a public document, together with search techniques we developed, the Fifth Estate succeeded in breaking that wall of silence to expose the names of Canadians who may be behind some of those shell companies. Burham Ltd., according to our research, linked to the Burt family of Winnipeg, owners of the Nutty Club candy business. Jim Burt told us that KPMG did approach him about the tax avoidance scheme, but he declined to buy in. And yet he couldn't explain how his son, Austin Burt, ended up listed as a director on Burham Company documents. SKH is another company we looked at and found connections that pointed to Ontario businessman and Order of Canada member Vic Dezen. Dezen refused to answer any of our inquiries, among them why, shortly after the CRA started investigating the Isle of Man scheme, SKH was quietly dissolved and reappeared in another tax haven, St. Kitts. Its new address, identical to a beach resort and casino owned by Vic Dezen. And then a company called Gask Investments, possibly connected to David Robinson. He's related by marriage to a gas company director. He's also senior vice president of Rogers Bank and a member of the Rogers family, owners of the biggest media empire in the country. Other Rogers family members told us they knew nothing about the KPMG scheme, and there's no evidence they did. David Robinson, however, refused to answer any of our inquiries. The CRA calls KPMG's scheme a sham intended to deceive. Nevertheless, that secret amnesty deal promised clients that in return for taxes owed plus a modest amount of interest, there would be no penalties and no prosecutions. Today, Canada's Revenue Minister seemed to walk back from that a bit. In light of the Fifth Estate's revelations, she now says that legal proceedings have not been abandoned. Gillian Finlay, CBC News, Toronto.